friends. So since I've decided I'm going to be playing the Assassin archetype for the foreseeable future, definitely for 100 hours of dueling, I thought that I'll do a build video, because then when people ask what build I'm running, I can just link them to the video. So because people always ask that once when I'm making videos on certain classes. Also, I just want to also preface this with, I have not really played this for long, and so there is a very high possibility that some of the gear isn't what it should be. And so the other reason I'm doing this video is people that know a little bit more about playing a Assassin archetype, the Hatchet spear, can put their comments in, and then that allows me to test it. Like, for example, I've been told that Rogue is good, I've been told Rogue is bad, so, I can maybe test out what I like and then do videos on what I prefer. So that's the second reason I want to make a build video early. But as I've been having a lot of success in OPRs with this build, I'm getting between 10 to 20 kills per OPR, so it's working. So for me, I feel like that's enough to know that the build is good enough to make a build video on. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'll try to tell you what I'm thinking of planning maybe in the future, to test different things out as I go through the build. But here we go. Obviously, this is also what I could afford to buy, so I had to put something together fairly quickly. Right, spear. I've got Fortifying, Perforate, Chain Arcane, and Keenly Jagged. I really just wanted the Fortifying, Perforate, and the Keenly Jagged. I thought I would get the Fortifying Perforate because it'll give me a lot more tankiness when I do go in there and attack them. But I'm kind of feeling like with the damage increase in New World at the moment, I don't even think the Fortify is really helping me, so I have to be pretty evasive. So I'm actually thinking of changing the spear, but I also thought I'd like Keenly Jagged because there's a lot of areas where I'm getting bleed, so I thought I'd just add to that. But this is up for me thinking about. And then the rune I'm using is, just a poison dot on them, and then the 12% extra damage with stamina not full, so I think that's Opal. With Hatchet, again, I just wanted one with the Arboreal attunement, or a attunement on it, which was Arboreal, and Rogue. So this is the Hatchet that I got, and I'm using the Augmented Arboreal, so it converts my damage to nature damage, and also inflicts a poison. So that's what I'm using for that. I haven't really got my rune yet, heart rune yet, so I don't know what I'm going to use. So at the moment, I'm just using this, but to be honest, I don't really often use it. Okay, so I'm going to get into my gear. So I'm using all resilience on every piece, and I've tried to go for as many traits as I can on each of them, and I've tried to stack freedom as well. So because this is a really high kiting, this is probably the best kiting class I've played. It's even better than bow in my opinion, and definitely mage. So you can kite for ages on this build, so it's really, really good. So I just wanted to go for freedom, because that means that I can't get locked in a stun, which is the main thing that's going to kill me, and it's been working like a charm. You could go fortifying if you wanted, but shirking fortify, but like I said, I just don't think, in my personal opinion, I'm so squishy right now, an extra little bit of fortification isn't going to too much of a difference. But getting away is. I'm relying on mobility to keep myself up. Okay, so in terms of my stats, I've tried to go for it. Well, I did go for an even split, but because I've put the new runes on, I just put a little bit more into the physical resistance over the magical resistance. Because if I come across a mage, I'll pop the gemstone dust, which gives me magic resistance. So that's kind of the compensation. Okay. So the armor is, and I'm using 150, I'm trying to stack dexterity so I can change things around if I need to. If I want to go 100 con or 150 or 200, I can. So I got the Crippling Feral Rush on this, the Critical Retribution and Resilience. So that's the first set. I kind of like the idea of Critical Retribution because this build gets a lot of perks from critting, and so I've stacked Keen Awareness and things like that. So, I can't remember if I haven't put Keen. See, that would be something I'd like to try on the weapons, is Keen. Because you do get a lot of benefits from the critting, but the Critical Reputation will increase my crit chance, so that's kind of a nice addition. And the cripple fairy rush is just really good because once you get on them, you're really, really sticky and they find it hard to get away from you, and that's how you get a lot of your assassinations. This is definitely the one I want to upgrade, and so you can see I'm not using resilience in this, mainly because I wanted a set that had enfeebling skewer, and I couldn't find one that also had resilience on it. So I'm going to replace this as soon as I find an armor thing with enfeebling skewer. So this is really good because it reduces the target's damage to you by 23%, the enfeebling skewer, and obviously freedom's really nice because, yeah, it just reduces the stun. Next armor piece is resilience, freedom, and refreshing distancing foe. So that perk's okay. I mean, I could live without it, but you know, ideally I was trying to stack freedom and resilience, and then of course I get an extra perk which I'm using, so I put that on. Oh, I should add, I mean it's pretty obvious, but I'm in light armor because like I want to be mobile. That's what's keeping me up. So light armor is still the play, and I think if you're going to be taking on multiple opponents or you're a solo player that's not kind of playing in big clumps, then light armor is definitely the way to go. Yeah, and then for the legs, I've gone again for freedom and resilience, and then shirking energy, because any little bit of extra stamina I can eke out is good because it just makes me more mobile, makes me more evasive, and that's what I'm all about. And then for my feet, again, freedom and resilience, and then I'm doing bleeding sweep. So it applies a bleed, so this is where I'm getting a lot of that bleeding from. If I sweep them, I get a bleed. I've got the keenly jagged, and then I get the bleeds from my skills. So yeah, it's a good one. So they're still taking damage when you're not hitting them. Okay, and then for the rings, I'm using the Champion's Amulet, which is stamina, recovery, health, and shirking and power. So these are all like really good PvP traits that increase your damage. The health makes you more survivable, and the stamina recovery, again, anything I can do to get me that extra bit of stamina to help me dodge more, to keep me more mobile, I'm going to take it. So chosen the Champion's Ring. Essentially I've Champion's Amulet, and essentially I've chosen the Champion's Ring, but it's not called the Champion's Ring. I bought it, but because I just have the worst blimmin' rain RNG, and I still haven't got it, even though I'm on the 75th blimmin' PvP track. But Invigorated Punishment, so that increases my damage to the player. Hardy, which gives me more stamina. I've already discussed why I like to have more stamina, especially in light. You want to have it because it gives you that third dodge. And then Keen Awareness, because I've already discussed this as well. I want to increase my crit chance because I get a lot of buffs from critting. And then I'm thinking I could probably improve upon this too. This is from my old Bruiser. So yeah, refreshing toast and regenerating. This is definitely something that's up for replacement. So if anyone's got any suggestions, let me know. In terms of, okay, so I have this in the slot, but I'm telling you now, if you're doing OPR and you're going solo and you're not using Zephyr Cakes, you're an idiot. So just make sure you use it. It's going to change your life if you haven't been using it. That extra speed is just so good. It'll make you so kitey. I tried Battle Bread, and I did really like that too. But in the end, having that extra little bit of movement, not only does it allow you to get away from people, but it allows you to stay on people. So if they're trying to run away from you, it really allows you to stay on them, hitting them. So definitely Zephyr Cakes. Get them at the start of an OPR. You'll thank me later. And then just the infused regeneration potions I'm using. Infused health potions. And like I said, I use this because my resistance is a little low towards magic, so I use this to compensate for that. That, and because the physical, whatever, oh God, I can't remember what you call it. But anyway, it's so expensive, so yeah. Right, so that's the gear. Traits. This is what I've been running. This is definitely worth playing around with, though. So here, I get extra damage on stunned players with the extra strength. So both the weapons I'm using are strength weapons and dex weapons, so I could probably play around with this a little bit. And the reason I go for 150 dexterity is because it costs 10 less stamina. Again, any little extra bit of stamina I'm going to get because it's going to help me stay mobile and help me dodging. So sort of 150 dex is a must. I've been told by someone to try this and reduce this to 150, so give that a go. But I think this is pretty much cookie cutter, actually. But I have been thinking, like, because my survivor, but I'm so squishy anyway, and I've kind of gotten quite good with the assassin at staying alive because of the mobility. I'm wondering if I could probably drop this down to 100 and get that extra bit of damage. So that's something I'm going to be trying literally probably tonight. So that's something to look at. And then in terms of the skills, to be honest, because I haven't played this, I've just kind of looked at other people's builds and mimicked what they've done. So I haven't had a chance to play around with it too much. But I have had a chance to play around with the skills that I really like and what I want to use. Obviously, Berserk and all its traits are a must-have, because like Berserk is a great kiting skill. It's going to help you. It's going to help you get away from people if you need to. It also increases damage if you're staying on people, so that's really good. You also want to have Defy Death, because even though it only gives you 3 seconds of mortality, like again, that can help you get away when you need to get away. Also, it's a really good thing if you're fighting someone and you know you still have it up, and they see your health going down and their health's going down, and then it'll pop, and then they're at low health, and you've suddenly got immunity for 3 seconds, so you can kill them. So I think that's a really good trait. Feral Rush, this can be quite hard to land, but the more you use it, the better you get at landing it. But the damage from it is so insane, especially with Rogue. So, yeah, obviously I'm going to be using that. And then another really good skill, which I'm loving the more I use it, is the social distancing. In my previous video, look at my previous video, because I show a nice little combo that you can use to start with this, where you throw it, and then you dodge roll, and then you kind of go into a spear attack. And so it's a lot of burst damage coming in. And it applies a slow to them too, but this is also really good at just getting, like, you get into the fight, do your damage, and then when you need to get away, you just pop the social distancing and you're off. Sorry, there's a lot of noise. There's people. Invite them over to your house. Just create a whole bunch of noise. Let me go somewhere better, so they can stop being so bloody noisy. Still being noisy. Right. Sorry about that. Okay, hope you can still see the nice views of the Brimstone Sands. Alright, where were we? Hatchet. And then for the traits, yeah, like I said, this one, see, again, I don't think this is that good. I'm so squishy anyway, I just don't think Fortify is helping me. So I'd be willing to switch this up for something else. This is good though. Anything that increases my damage is going to be really, really good. The aim throw I thought I'd use because I thought I would use it more, but I actually haven't used it at all, so this is also up for replacement. And this is a damage increase, so I'm going to use that. Again, this is going to increase. This is where the critical hits are really, really important, because it replaces my stamina. So that's why I've tried to go for anything that's going to increase my critical hits, because anything that gets me more stamina, I will be happy with. Okay, and then just again a damage increase, and again a stamina saver. So you can sort of see the theme I'm picking here. I definitely favour anything that increases my damage and or improves my stamina. Right, spear is my final one. Again, this is pretty cookie cutter. I use sweep. I'm thinking though, and then I've put grit on it, but I'm thinking I do want to replace this and try the Vault Kick and see how that works. So I've gotten used to these 3 combos, but I'm wondering whether Vault Kick might be a better replacement to this. Because if they have grit, they don't get knocked down, whereas this is a stun, so it's actually better. So, but this is more of like an AoE, so I don't know. I'll have to see. I use Skewer because it's just so good at closing the distance on players, and it applies the bleed. I've already told you, like, I've got lots of little ways to put dots on the opponents, and obviously this is the main one. And so I've gone all down into this tree as far as I can go, because mainly this one because increased bleed duration, but they're all pretty good traits. And then I use Perforate. This is just really good damage. If I get someone in a stun, I can do a Perforate on them, and then it increases the amount of damage you can do them with your subsequent attacks. So I have thought about, and then I use this because that again increases the damage. So I have thought about maybe replacing this and then having like the 2 stuns. So I definitely am going to be playing around with Spear, because I feel like I do most of my damage on the Hatchet. So using a Spear to get the CCs off might be good. I guess I'll have to test it. But whenever I test something, you can see my latest video on the Learn to Play series, and you'll see kind of if I've changed anything. And then as I update my build, I will definitely let you all know. So I'll be doing lots of build updates as much as I'm doing, you know, what I'm finding on the builds. And then in terms of the traits, critical chance, all good. But although, yeah, not that great because it's more than 3 meters away, but, you know, with spare, that's works. So, again, a stamina one where, you know, if you're dashing backwards, you consume less stamina. So anything that saves your stamina is good in my books. Damage increase one, yeah, and with a spare, you knock people down with this. So it's a good one to have. Yeah, see, fortify, and I don't really use heavy attacks that lot, so I think I can probably replace this with something else. I'm not finding fortify that helpful. Stamina regeneration, don't have to say that again. So you can see I'm really stuck in getting more stamina. But I'm telling you, this is the best kiting build in the game. Well, that I've come across anyway. And again, restores 20 stamina critical hits. So it's like, yeah, great way to get more stamina. And then I have increased critical chance on light attacks. Increased damage to people with active grit, which is good against the bruises. Increased damage, so yeah, basically just going for everything that either increases my stamina or increases my stamina recovery. This is good because it reduces the spare cooldowns, so anything that, and they're already pretty short, so anything that reduces the cooldowns is good. And yeah, increased critical hit chance. So, am I missing anything? I've gone over the attributes, my potions, I've gone over all my skills. I think that's it. So, if any of you have any questions, or if any of you have any suggestions, I'm totally willing to hear them, and then I can trial them out in the game and see what I like and what I don't like. This is an evolving process, right? So as I learn all about this class and I get better and better at it, I will keep doing updated build videos so you can know what I'm using and and then it'll also be showing what I find. So if I drop the fortify, I'll say, yeah, it's so much more better. I'm not noticing the difference, but I'm doing more damage. Or if I try a new weapon, what the? Trying to do a build video! Anyway, so, yeah, I think that's it. I will see you all later. Hope you enjoy it.